From the crossroads of the Ozarks, it's P.I.D. Radio. Welcome. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert, and we're going to see how this works from the barn.
Yes, because
with the dog.
Grace, the rescue dog, is out here in the barn with us right now. She is clearly helping us to de-stress by showing us her belly and saying, please scratch me. That is her technique. Tried and true for reducing stress in humans.
Right now, she's forcing me to rub her toes.
Like that commercial.
I know. Rub my toes, Johnny.
Well,
she's good.
She was out here last night with me and was really good as I was editing video for tomorrow night's view from the bunker. But that might have been because it was after dark. And
it was after dark.
After dark time, it's time to just relax. Now it's still daytime, and there could be anything going on out there.
Right up here, and she wants constant attention. We'll see how it goes. If we have to edit a break where I take her back inside, we'll see. But by the way, Grace, the rescue dog, now has her own Facebook page.
She does. Check it out. You'll get lots and lots of pictures of Grace, who is very beautiful. Quickly, yes, she is beautiful, and she's very quickly become a full member of the Gilbert household. I mean, we will never forget Sam T. Dachshund, but Grace is, she's got a personality that is unique to her. She certainly enjoys walks as much as Sam did. Sam was younger. So she likes to go out and patrol the perimeter of the property. The next door neighbor's German Shepherd mixes have noticed her, barked very loudly at her again today, but all she had to do was turn, stare, and raise the one paw. Like, I could retrieve you so fast. She is a flat-coated retriever, we think. So, and yesterday she had her first spa day with Miss Eileen at Pet Cuts.
She did, and Miss Eileen says she was a very, very good girl.
Yeah. So, a new crew of rescue dogs at Pet Cuts in Crane, whereas before it was an older dog had been rescued from a puppy mill, a female named Gracie. We did not name her after Gracie, but just because she is a rescue, and we are all rescued by the love of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Sharon's inspiration, I think that's a perfect name. But Grace and Copper were there previously, Gracie and Copper, and now it's Mona and Luke, with occasional visits by Ollie, the Chiweenie, our friends Dr. Ralph and Lori Umbriaco, who are in Crane as well. So
he's a great little dog.
He really is, yeah. So Grace had fun yesterday, and so we'll get her acclimated to the group over there because when we travel again in 2024, she'll need to be boarded, so we want her to be comfortable with the situation there.
And speaking of travel in 2024, we have spoken to Lipkin Tours, and we are going to change the dates for Israel.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that after the break, but we'll be sending out a mass email this weekend to those who have registered to this point, posting also to the Facebook group for the 2024 tour, and we'll be just making sure this information gets into everyone's hands. But we're just with concerns of the security situation in Israel, especially with the breakdown of the week-old ceasefire, which we kind of anticipated.
And the breakdown of the negotiations. Israel has recalled their negotiators from Qatar.
Yeah, the team from Mossad that was handling negotiations, they've gone back to Israel. So this is that. Plus, you've got the situation in the Red Sea with the Yemenis, the Houthis in Yemen, trying to blow things up.
And Hezbollah up north. So this could very easily escalate. And rather than number one, risk anything, but number two, just the perception of security, it'll just be, I think, a more pleasant time if we're not thinking constantly about that. So we're pushing back towards next fall. Again, we'll talk more about that. We don't have specific dates yet, but we're pretty sure we know the window. And we'll talk about that after the break. We do. The one thing that we know for sure after being in Israel at least a couple of times when things were getting slightly active is that in the West, the perception is that everything is just radical there, that you could be shot. Sorry, I was looking at a Grace. You could be shot at any minute. But the fact is, you are almost always safer in Israel than you are in most large cities here in the United States.
That's no exaggeration. That is absolutely true.
So it's entirely possible that it's much calmer over there than we perceive. But we really don't want to risk anybody.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
So we'll move that back in consideration of the situation on the ground there, and we'll talk about that a little bit. We've also got some other interesting topics to discuss this week. Sharon, you haven't even told me everything you want to discuss.
I have a bunch of them. By the way, the 2025 tour dates are still solid. We haven't changed any of those at all. So if you're interested in signing up for the Iron and Myth tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be in, those dates are available on our calendar, which you can get in our app.
Yes.
And in fact, I need to update the dates for the 2024 tour on the app, but our upcoming events are all there. Upcoming schedule of Bible readings, scripture readings for the weekly Gilbert House Fellowship Bible study. Those are also on the app, and you'll also get those at gilberthouse.org. But gilberthouse.org/app to get our app, all of our content, schedule of upcoming events, calendar of upcoming Bible readings, and more, all right there for your. Let's see, your cable is wrapped around the little.
I'm trying to figure out what's
the preamp. Yeah, it's here. It was just this there.
Much better.
Didn't have enough slack in your cable there.
You got to have some slack. Well, hello.
Give you a hitch in your get along.
You don't want that.
Yes, Canadian superpigs, cheap shopping apps, and much, much more to come this week on P.I.D. Radio.
Yeah, well, let me just read the headlines of the stories I have not told you about. You can pick the one you want to discuss. Okay, there is human bones were ground into flour to make bread in the 16th century France.
Oh, okay. Was that by a giant? At the top of a beanstalk? No, I know.
No, actually, they were starving.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
They were starving, and so they were actually digging up bones from the cemeteries and also going into the charnel houses, which are essentially when you move bodies, move skeletons, they would go into a charnel house. So it's full of bones. And they were grinding them into flour, and it was making everybody sick.
Well, yeah.
Yes. So that's one story. Was witchcraft in the Devil's Church in Coley based on acoustic resonance?
What?
Yeah. There's a crevice cave that has been, it's in eastern Finland, by the way. It's one of many caves that are known as Devil's Churches or Devil's Caves. And the acoustic properties within them make it sound, especially if you're going in as a priest or a priestess and you have already taken a few herbs, the sounds within can sound like you're being answered by something. Now, does it mean that there's a natural explanation for all events like this? No. But I think it's really interesting that places like this were considered domains of the devil.
This is interesting because this is related to the research that our friend Kenny C. has been doing
on resonance, which is why I flagged it.
Yeah. Kenny, research for your forthcoming book, The Devil's Church in Finland. It is known that certain types of sounds can make you feel unwell, or certain resonances can make you feel unwell.
Airdrop us or message?
You can airdrop it. Yeah. We're all on the mesh network here, which doesn't mean
that's waiting.
Yeah, well, I'm accepting.
Oh, well, good.
So, witchcraft in the Devil's Church in eastern Finland.
Yeah.
Could be why my Swedish ancestors got out of Finland in the 19th century.
Several known sages and so-called healers operated in this area. Most famous of the sages was a man known as Kinalainen, sometimes also referred to as Tosavainen, who used the Devil's Church for magical rituals.
Interesting. Even today, places visited by practitioners of shamanism who organized drumming sessions in the cave, setting up resonances through percussion.
Now, tones vocalized in the cave are very close to the 231 hertz frequency. And that's what really caught my eye for Kenny C.
Yeah. What I think is interesting is that these shaman who've gone in there and done the drumming sessions found that the standing wave caused by the parallel walls inside this cave resonates naturally at 231 hertz, which I checked on this during a break that is edited out, and you would never know it was there if I had just told you.
Grace had to go back inside.
Yeah, she was being a little worried about just...
I just want you to notice me, that's all. Stop talking!
Yeah. 231 hertz is
A sharp, or B flat, which every good barbershop quartet singer knows is the key around which everything is built.
Yeah. Now, is it exactly or is it approximately?
No, it's 200. If it's tuned to A4 equals 440.
Right.
Yeah. So 231 is A sharp or B flat.
But Kenny C will tell you that not everyone hears in A440.
Well, that's true. Yeah. In fact, I was just talking to Pastor Casper McLeod last night, and they just recorded some music with the tuning at A equals 432, which some people say is better. That A equals 440 is, I don't know, bad for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I said, I tune everything to B flat anyway, because again, that's where Wild Irish Rose is. And half the songs in the Barbershop Quartet catalog are in B flat. So
there you go. So anyway, that's one of the stories that now that we've done it right.
Clearly, the ancient Finns, the shamanic Finns, were singing Barbershop Quartet. There is a YouTube channel out there, and that will you could basically punch in any frequency and it'll play the tone for you. But there's also a frequency to note converter, and so yes, it is 231 is A sharp below middle C. So we got another article coming through here.
Scientists build tiny biological robots from human cells.
What can possibly go wrong?
What could? Because these are supposed to be good little bots.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to move around your body and heal wounds. What sounds a bit like the Armageddon strain.
It does, actually.
Yes.
That also sounds like a number of different scientific or sci-fi stories. Yeah. Put the nanites in there.
Patient-derived biobots. The new therapeutic tool for regeneration.
It's from research at
Tufts.
And the University of Vermont created multicellular biological robots from frog embryo cells they called xenobots, capable of navigating passageways, collecting material, recording information, healing themselves from injury, and even replicating for a few cycles on their own.
Why, they can be arranged into different structural elements like walls, archways, and columns.
Well, look, he's got appears to be a little temple built there inside the left ventricle.
Why am I suddenly picturing that J.R.R. Martin story?
George R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin, sorry.
The Sand Kings?
The Sand Kings.
Yeah. So this current study, published in Advanced Science, features Michael Levin from Tufts University, and PhD student Gazem Gumuskaya discovered that bots can, in fact, be created from adult human cells, not frog cells this time.
Right.
Without any genetic modification. And they're demonstrating some capabilities beyond what was observed with the frog xenobots.
No, I don't want xenobots inside me. I don't care if they are derived from
I don't want human bots in there.
I prefer not. Another one coming your way?
New structures and tasks. That is really, really interesting. I'm all in favor of restoring functionality when it comes to humans who've been injured, especially wounded soldiers.
So am I. But when you go in this direction, you really are asking for trouble.
Yeah.
What they should do is they should get a sci-fi writer on their staff at all of these scientific studies. Yeah. Every university should have a sci-fi writer on staff to go, let me tell you where this could go.
Yeah, because if they can imagine it, somebody else out there, a bad actor, will look at this technology and say, how can we use this how can we weaponize this?
Exactly.
In fact, when I interviewed Lori, author, not Lori Garrett, I'm sorry, Annie Jacobson, author of The Pentagon's Brain.
Yes,
about
and
DARPA.
Many other great books. Area 51, yeah.
Yeah, so the question you have to ask whenever you see technology like this is, how can it be weaponized? Because sure as shooting, there is somebody inside DARPA or its equivalent agency in Russia or China or the UK thinking the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Now, here's something else that can go horribly wrong. Neuralink, we all know about that.
Right.
There's a linked startup to Neuralink that is working on technology that allows you to keep working while you are lucid dreaming.
This is like the movie Inception.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly like that.
Oh, and the name of the startup company, Prophetic.
Uh-huh.
Prophetic.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, they're calling it this headband, they're calling Halo, to induce lucid dreams where you're aware you're dreaming, but you can take control of it, like in the movie Inception, where you had people who could go into dreams, the dreams of target people and do things in there.
Right.
To change their perception of reality, change their memories and so on.
Let's assume that lucid dreaming is indeed what is caused here and not some opening of a portal.
Yeah.
There are people who, quote unquote, have lucid dreams and actually get all excited and then they wake themselves up, or they don't know how to control the dream.
Right.
That's where Inception comes in. Someone else controls your dream.
They set the rules of your dreamscape. Yeah. Well, it's been the subject of science fiction films like Inception, but others as well, when they went into the minds of people who are dreaming to change what those people think about reality. Perception is really reality. If you think something is real, you behave as though it is, and so it might as well be.
Well, that's exactly it. In fact, there is a phenomenon called histrionic pathological syndrome. It is someone who truly does believe he or she is the star of everything, and the rest of the world is merely there as secondary, non-playing characters.
Meghan Markle.
Yes. Well, yeah, I hate to say it, but yes, she might actually be a candidate for that diagnosis.
Yeah.
It's a terrible diagnosis because the person is not happy unless everyone else is playing along.
Yeah. And, she was the first candidate who came to mind, but and social media is facilitating this and making it worse because
yes.
People everywhere there was the story that came out this past week about the family that went on a vacation to Disneyland, and mom developed a spreadsheet for her children, her 6 kids. This is a couple from Salt Lake City. 6 kids, mom and dad, went to Disneyland. Sounds like a great family vacation, right? No, mom assigned videos the kids had to produce for her social media channel, but only 40 because she said she didn't want to overwork them. What?
Because she made so much money per post.
Right. She's got so many followers that for each video she puts out on TikTok, she gets something like $1,100. So
crazy.
Yeah. Now, the cost of Disneyland vacation is such that might be the only way you can afford.
I understand. I do. But if she's making that per post, she should have saved the money up and let her kids actually relax.
Exactly. I agree. But the world is such that we're raising up a generation of kids who think that social media influencer is a valid career option, and that you live life with one hand on a selfie stick.
One of the sad truths about this is that in the horrible circumstances that something happens to person XYZ, then this person is now in the news. And the photo that is used often is taken from social media.
Right.
So you'll get a mirror selfie or just a selfie. And they are highly filtered. And I'm thinking, if this person is missing, that's not what he or she really looks like.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
The other thing is the perception of, okay, you're telling me that this person was brutally murdered, and this is the image that you want me to associate with that event. Because many of these images, and I'm guilty of it too, we all do this. We all want to be our best. We just do. It's one reason this morning when Gracie was over just sort of snuggling with me, and you took a couple of pictures and you said, "Is that okay?" And I said, "Yeah, get me in it." Because I have no makeup on. My hair is bed hair. And I just was really enjoying snuggling with my dog.
Yeah. And I shared the photos with you rather than posting them to the internet so that you could choose which one.
And I did.
Yeah.
And they looked exactly alike to me. But I shared them because I think we all need to just share our truth, our reality, not the quote-unquote truth that we love to think. the image that we have of ourselves where we're perfect and we're forever, young or whatever. And we have nanobots that are working inside us to generate every gray hair and remove every wrinkle from our faces, because that is next.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That idea of regeneration, it's going to be more than just fixing something that needs to be healed. Uh-huh. It's going to be, you can look young.
Those little biobots will go in there and clean out all those extra fat cells.
Yeah.
Get rid of that cellulite with biobots. Yeah, that's probably coming.
Or you can just lucid dream yourself and just think that this is reality. And in the meantime, you're actually producing something for the world. You're on your bike, pedaling away.
You're in a tank of goo producing electricity for the Matrix. Well,
the direction in which we're going.
But what that actually relates to tomorrow night's interview on A View from the Bunker, where I talk with Nick Goss, who we'll be talking with tomorrow, Nick and his brother Jonathan on their podcast, The Goslings. But Nick is the author of a new book called Unplugging Babel, and he argues that social media and our addiction to electronic devices is a modern-day Babel, that we are being tied together into a global community again, the way the people of Babel tried to do 5,000 years ago through social media, through the internet.
Yeah. In fact, many of us, I think, make resolutions in January 1st. Okay. Mm-hmm. New Year's resolution, I'm going to do the following. It's usually lose weight or start working out. Maybe we should say one day a week, and maybe Sunday is a good day. Choose one day a week that is no phone, no MacBook, no laptop, no anything. You can watch a movie, but don't be on your device texting or, trolling some social media site.
In other words, interact with your family and your friends in an analog space, not virtually.
Or read a book.
Do something analog. Yeah. Nick is the father of a couple of kids. And wonderful kids, very creative like him. He is, if the last name sounds familiar, Nick and Jonathan, and they've got a younger brother named Rob. Their father, Larry Goss, is in the Gospel Music Hall of Fame.
Yes. Larry Goss passed away a few years ago. Right. Amazing music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Music that back in our Life Unlimited days, we sang a lot of.
Well, Jonathan and Nick are both writers, authors, and Nick started a series aimed at young and middle school age readers called the Travelers League, about a device that allows you to time travel. And this grew out of his nightly bedtime reading to his children, who got bored with the books and said, well, let's make up our own story. And so they started making up stories about a kid who finds a special device that allows him to travel in time and travel in, to other worlds. And so he began writing those down. And that was the genesis of the Travelers League, which is available.
It's a great way to teach history to your child. And that's that's how Doctor Who started out.
Right.
It was a means of using a grandfather kind of character to teach history.
Yeah, now it's being used to teach social justice.
Wokeism. Yeah. Well, another story, and then we'll have to take our break. And this one has to do with something we'll talk about after the break, and that is being spied on. Why are Russian drones flying over homes in Sussex?
Really?
Police probe mystery surveillance craft sent from a Kremlin-owned country manor that keeps locals in 3 villages under constant surveillance.
It may be...
The drones actually fly down the streets.
It may be a security thing for whoever owns it. It may be a Russian oligarch who's concerned that FSB might be after him.
Maybe, but hey, just have it patrol your property. Don't be patrolling the nearby villages.
Yeah, that... leads to,
that's overreach.
It is. And there have been issues here in the United States with people upset that drones were surveilling, say, the swimming pool where the teenage daughter of the owners was out there and the guy getting in trouble for shooting down the drone that his neighbor was operating.
Yeah.
Sadly, there's no law against that. Well, there ought to be.
Yeah, there ought to be.
Yeah.
But then how far do you take it? That's always the danger when you start down the road.
Yeah.
So... I think time.
Yes. We'll also talk about why you should stop using the cheap Chinese shopping app and Canadian superpigs. Yes, as P.I.D. Radio continues. Sharon and I really appreciate your support, and that's why every single month we want to make a special offer available to you at the Gilbert House store. And now that we're into the holidays, we're offering extra specials.
We really are. You know, last year we had some holiday specials that people just really enjoyed getting. Lots and lots of you went and ordered there, and we thank you for that. We're doing the same thing this year. Lots of great deals, including Red Wing Saga specials, Derek's book specials, and blowout prices on all of our DVDs.
Yes, but if you prefer streaming video, so you get instant access in full HD.
And no shipping.
And no shipping, right. We've got special discounts available now at our online streaming site, gilberthouse.org/video. That includes even our full-length travelogumentaries, our Wars of the Gods Volume 1 and Volume 2, now at a special discounted price through the end of January.
That is such a deal. And by the way, those of you who have loved Vicki Joy Anderson's book, They Only Come Out at Night, that book is also on special December and January.
We want to make this information available to you. We understand that around the holidays, finances get a little tight, so we're offering special pricing on just about everything in our online store. We're all in the middle of a battlefield.
We are.
And we all need good information. Please take advantage of our special offers, gilberthouse.org/video and gilberthouse.org/store. And thank you for your prayers and support.
Amen.
Welcome back to P.I.D. Radio. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert, and we're so glad that you choose to join us every week. And you know, the easiest way to enjoy assuming you enjoy them, all of our podcasts and programs is on our app.
Get that app at, a couple places, pidradio.com/app, but gilberthouse.org/app, because Gilbert House brings you to our main web hub of all of our stuff. All of our video, audio content is on the app, as well as a calendar of upcoming events, upcoming scripture readings, but also a Bible module, and most importantly, the messaging section.
Oh, it's so active. I love going in there. And every once in a while, they'll ask us a great question. So that's what I love, is going in and, they've asked really hard. Let me go look this up.
And I can see right now we've got 42 unread messages since the last time I opened the app. So
my goodness.
Very, very active. So
that is really good.
Prayer requests and prayers and sharing resources back and forth. So it is really a blessing.
Praise reports.
Praise reports. So do get the app, gilberthouse.org/app.
By the way, while you're at gilberthouse.org, go to /store, because we have all sorts of deals in the months of December and January.
Yes. As you just heard in the promo, we've got discounted prices on a lot of stuff, especially DVDs. We're really trying to
that's crazy.
Move the DVDs half price. In some cases, it's 1/3 the price normally. But basically, all the DVDs are like $10, and we're offering $10 off on all of our streaming video stuff. And some of that stuff was available to rent for 10 days for as little as $3 to begin with. So 20% off of that using promo code video20. All of this through the end of January. So you'll find that at gilberthouse.org/video.
Yes, indeed. Well, before the break, we were talking about surveillance and having your data looked at online.
Yeah.
Being invaded by your neighbors with drones. But online, that is, you and I have talked about this for years. The fact that when you're on a social media site that is quote unquote free, it is not free. You are the product.
Right. This applies to pretty much everything you do online. The reason social media sites are generally free is because you are the product. Your data becomes the product that they sell to their advertisers. It's really no different than it's just more advanced than broadcast. I mean, the reason over-the-air broadcast television is free, over-the-air broadcast radio is free, is because you are the product. They attract you to their programming, and then they turn that around and sell that to advertisers. You are the product.
It is a perpetual motion machine that can only, go so far, because if you are the product and the consumer at the same time, the advertisers that get your data so that they can feed you ads, so you will buy from them, then allow you to stay online, keep producing, keep being a product, keep sharing your data.
Right.
And if they can find ways to move you to other websites and have you buy there too.
Or track you as you go to other websites.
Track you as you go to other websites,
Which Facebook
yes.
does. Yeah.
Well, exactly. It reminds me of government. When government hands out helicopter money, it's supposed to stimulate the economy. So you will go out and buy, which leads to sales tax revenue. And then theoretically, it allows those people who work in the stores to continue keeping their jobs and then to pay taxes, which gives the money for the helicopters to disperse.
Yeah.
It can only go on so long.
Right. It is not a sustainable model.
It's diminishing returns.
Right. We've gone from an economy based on investing in
widgets.
In business to create widgets, and then other businesses that use those widgets to build other things. It is now a consumer-based economy, and the bankers who are at the top of the pyramid have gone from investing in productivity to just investing in other investments. It's currency manipulation, essentially.
Well, yes.
And
they can't sustain that.
They can't sustain, no. The amount of, I've forgotten the number of trillions of dollars worth of existing debt in the world. A truck driving by outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Almost sound like a tractor. Do we need to raise the barn door?
Well, that you may hear that at some point down the road, because every now and again our neighbor's going to have to come by and cut hay here and brush hog. Anyway, the model changed really in the 19th century with British bankers transitioning from investing in businesses to investing in investments and speculating on investments.
Yeah, that happened with the Barings Bank, and they almost went under, but Rothschild came along. Baron Rothschild came along and bailed them out. They had invested in certificates that supposedly gave you rights to silver mining in what they called the Argentine, in Argentina.
Right.
And, turned out that they were... Eventually, the government said no more of that, and then the mines were tapped out.
And similar thing here happened in the United States with a bank run toward the end of the 19th century or early 20th. I forget when exactly it was, but John D. Rockefeller stepped in and backstopped the banks. So that led to the creation. That was justification for the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank in 1913. But we understand what really is going on there is the bankers getting control of the money supply. And now...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and now we're back to this game, this economy that is based on banks speculating on very risky investments.
If you are interested in knowing more about the Fed and its creation, there's a great book called The Creature from Jekyll Island.
G. Edward Griffin, who, by the way, we interviewed at the first Branson Future Congress. So if you want to go into our app, into the prophecy interviews section, and you can also use the search function inside of our app and search for G. Edward Griffin, or just type, just Griffin, and that'll take you to the interview where we talk about the book and the role of the Federal Reserve.
Is it
12 years ago.
FFIN or FFEN?
FFIN. So it is a rigged game, and just as in a casino, the house always wins.
That's so true.
So that is what's going on there. But getting back to the idea of surveillance capitalism and your data being what is really sold out there. Again, we're aware that Facebook does this. Facebook has been accused of unethical practices. We've all had the experience where we will talk about a particular product that we don't normally shop for or look for, and then suddenly we're getting those ads served up to us on our mobile devices. Where did they find that out? I mean, I didn't even search for this. I was just talking about it, and now...
We were talking in the car, weren't even online. We didn't think.
Yeah, well, the fact is your microphone on your phone is always active.
Yep.
Sometimes
just leave the phone behind.
Yeah. But this has been taken to a whole new level by a shopping app that has become very, very popular. In fact, for a while in 2023, it's the most downloaded app on Google Play and Apple's App Store.
And some of you may well be using this service. And if so, then I know you may disagree with us.
Yeah.
But there is no free lunch. And there's no super cheap lunch either.
Right. So what we're talking about Temu. Temu, which you probably have seen the ads on social media where they've got these crazy cheap deals on clothing, electronics, everything, and we all love a good deal.
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
it is a routine in our home. We go to the app for B&H Photo on a regular basis, and we're not being recompensed for this, but we'll give them a plug because we love B&H Photo. Most of the equipment that we've got here in terms of video and audio, these microphones, the mixer, the lights that are here in the set come from B&H Photo.
And they back everything up. If it arrives and you don't like it, it doesn't work, or if it just doesn't arrive, they make it good.
Yeah, and in that case, that was a MacBook Pro that didn't arrive, and they made it good.
They did, and they gave me an upgrade.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah. So we like their services because their prices are excellent, but still they're turning a profit. When you look at some of the prices at Temu and look at, it's like, how can they sell that pair of designer boots for $5? How can they sell that touchscreen watch for $20? It's because the point is not to make money on the product. Now, there are some unfair practices that they've engaged in that the U.S. Congress is addressing. They are manipulating trade laws to...
loophole in the law.
Yeah, loophole in the law that allows them to get around some of the trade restrictions, and so they get by without having to pay some of the tariffs and import fees, right, which allows them to keep their prices down. But even with that, their prices are well below. In fact, in the show notes, I will post a link to the investigation by a group called Grizzly Reports. And this is a
you have to love the name of the company.
Yeah, it is a Grizzly Research is the name of the company, rather. Grizzly Research. And the title of their article, and this was pointed out to me, by the way, by one of our viewers. He went with us to Israel back in the spring. Young man named David Solom. So, David, thank you for the heads up here. We finally found a way to work this into a program.
He's a very bright young man.
Yes, he is. Grizzly Research, and they were very careful about this. Their terms of use on their websites, like, look, we believe this information is 100% accurate, but we can't guarantee it. We are entitled to our opinion. Essentially, it's please don't sue us. But they argue that Temu app's software, the Temu app software has the full array of characteristics of the most aggressive forms of malware and spyware. The app has hidden functions that allow for extensive data exfiltration unbeknown to users, potentially giving bad actors full access to almost all data on customers' mobile devices. I mean, really don't need to go anything beyond that, because think about what information is on your device: your calendar, your address, your banking information, your credit card. Have you saved a credit card to another app so you speed up the shopping and the checkout process?
Right.
This app, according to Grizzly Research, has they put together a spreadsheet where they show the types of malware and spyware functions on other, and they compare it against other apps like Amazon, TikTok, eBay, Alibaba.com, and then another cheap shopping app called Shein, Shein, another Chinese shopping app. And they compare 18 different security issues. And Teemu was the only one of the 6 compared that flagged red, yes, for all 18 security issues. Amazon has got 2, 4, 6, 7, 10, 12 out of 18, which is better than TikTok even. TikTok's only 8 out of 18. eBay is 8 out of 18. Teemu is all 18 out of 18. Types of data collected. According to Kim Commando, who's got a syndicated radio show about tech, Teemu collects a substantial amount of user data, including names, addresses, phone numbers, birthdays, pictures, links to social media profiles, and technical data like operating system of the user's device, IP addresses, and GPS locations.
Oh, goody. Well, some of that can come from our photographs when you post a photo online, unless you've removed the metadata.
Right. Now, we'll remind you again, Teemu is a Chinese-owned app. And it is apparently, although it's not confirmed, but it appears to be linked to the Chinese Communist Party regime. Now, we have friends we know that use this app. And again, we all love getting a good deal, but just understand what you're dealing with when you're getting those good deals. If something seems too good to be true, it is.
Right. Here's the thing. If you use it, don't sit there and go, oh my gosh, my life is ruined.
No, not necessarily.
No, first of all, you are protected by the Holy Spirit. Doesn't mean that the Holy Spirit will bail you out of every bad choice you make. But this is you're now informed. If you want to continue shopping on Temu, that it could be that you will never have a problem. It could be.
Yeah.
But it also could be that you might. So maybe if I were in those shoes, I've never shopped on Temu, don't have the app. If I had it, I would probably delete it and change all my passwords.
Yeah, I would say that's just a wise recommendation. And again, I'll put links in the notes so you can view the report from Grizzly Research and then another article that summarizes it if you just want the summary version from a company, a website called dataeconomy.com.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say is please don't feel like you're a fool. You're not.
No.
You're not. Everybody wants a bargain.
Yeah.
Everybody does. And the way that Temu has been explaining it, well, that makes sense. I see they're making a little bit on every sale. It all adds up. But apparently they're actually losing on every.
Yeah, according to Grizzly, they appear to be losing an average.
Saturday? They never shoot on Saturday.
Normally, we only hear the gunfire on Sunday mornings. Appears that Temu loses an average of about $30 on every order.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, but again, the product are not the products that they're offering. What they're doing is they're using that as a lure to draw people in, so they can harvest the data off of our mobile devices and turn around and sell that or use that in nefarious ways.
Right. Well, the terrible thing is that if you can protect yourself from the known knowns and from the known unknowns, but not the unknown unknowns, as Dick Cheney used to say. Or was it the other guy?
That was Donald Rumsfeld.
Okay.
The unknown unknowns.
Yeah, well, but that's where you have to trust in the Lord. If you are doing something for Him, then you have to trust in Him. Don't know that shopping on Temu is for Him.
No, and again, not to put too fine a point on it, but according to this research company, Temu is the most dangerous app that is widely available.
Right.
Demonstrably more dangerous than TikTok, which Donald Trump, I think, wisely wanted to force divestiture from its Chinese owners.
Yes, not only has
Temu
TikTok just turned brains to mush.
Which is bad enough. Yeah, I think that was
addicted a lot of young people. Yes, exactly. But it also scrapes data.
Yeah. But anyway, so that is that is our recommendation here. Stop using the cheap shopping apps, because if they're losing money on if the deals just appear to be too good to be true, the point of the deal is to draw you in and get access to your device your data.
Well, and as you mentioned, there are other sites like Amazon that have drawbacks to them. So the bottom line is shopping online will always have its dangers.
Right. Even just using the internet has its
dangers,
because we live in an era of surveillance capitalism. Your data, in fact, in that documentary we watched about surveillance capitalism, it was startling to learn that one of the big money makers for automakers right now, auto companies, is the data they collect through the onboard system that connects you to the internet. OnStar and other devices like it.
We started talking about OnStar many, many, many years ago. Right,
because they are following you to different locations. They can check your movement patterns. They can check where you're going, and then correlate that with data off of your phones as to what you were buying when you were in the various stores.
Well, let me just. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. It's just I'm beating a horse that's on life support.
Let me just read this to you. Let me find where to start here. Verse 11 of Revelation 18, and the merchants of the earth weep and mourn for her, since no one buys their cargo anymore. Cargo of gold, silver, jewels, pearls, fine linen, purple cloth, silk, scarlet cloth, all kinds of scented wood, all kinds of articles of ivory, all kinds of articles of costly wood, bronze, iron, and marble, cinnamon, spice, incense, myrrh, frankincense, wine, oil, fine flour, wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and chariots, and slaves, that is, human souls. We are the product
Yeah, and this could apply in a literal sense as well, with the dark web being used to facilitate trafficking. But
Yes.
in a spiritual sense, the internet being used to spread the doctrines of demons.
Yes.
Wow, Nick Goss may be more onto something here than I even realized.
I know it, and that's why I say we need to have one day a week. Just make that decision. One day a week. Unplug Babel 1 day a week. Yes.
Well, that is really interesting.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that we were going to talk about, if I can find my thing here. Well,
I just want to touch very quickly on the Israel-Hamas war.
Please do, yes.
Because that blew up again this week.
It did. That just fell apart, and it was Hamas's fault.
Yeah, although they're blaming Israel and the United States for it, but they started firing rockets out of Gaza. There was an interview that one of their spokesmen, who actually a Hamas official who's in charge of prisoners being held by Israel. Israel reportedly, depending on the report you read, anywhere from about 4,700 to 8,500 Palestinian Arabs are being held in Israeli prisons under suspicion of terrorist activities. This is everything from throwing rocks at soldiers to attempted murder to terrorist plots to detonate bombs and whatnot. The world looks at this and says it's awful because they weren't given due process. And I have no idea whether that is true or partly true or just untrue, whatever. But this guy for Hamas, in talking to a news network in Turkey, the TRT network, said that the 3-for-1 ratio of prisoners for hostages will end soon because it is Hamas's goal to hold Israeli hostages until all of the Palestinian Arab being held in Israel are released. And again, that's about 4,700, at least 4,700, if not more.
And the claim is that these are mostly young men who've committed no crime. That's
right.
The claim.
The claim.
Yeah. Many of these young men have actually committed crimes against the people that are called settlers in the West Bank and up in the Golan Heights. They also have, in the past, after release, gone on to Gaza and plotted terrorist events.
Yeah, this is a political move by Hamas. They've been very shrewd about this. They are using this to shore up, to increase their public support in Judea and Samaria. This is why the head of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, has canceled elections. After he got elected, it's like, okay, no more elections, because he knows that if they did hold elections again, he would lose and Hamas would then come into power in the West Bank. And Israel's not going to allow that to happen.
He likes his phony baloney job.
Yeah, it is. He's running a crime family there in grifting, but he's not popular amongst the Arabs who live in the West Bank. They would just as soon have Hamas. And if Hamas can get some of these folks, these prisoners being held released, that only raises their stature even further. And again, Israel is not going to allow that to happen. Israel, by negotiating for the hostages, and I can understand why they would. You've got grieving families, frantic at what their families, their children, their wives, their grandmothers may be going through, demanding that the war cabinet, Netanyahu and Gantz, and do something about it, but it only benefits Hamas.
Yes, but then to find out that the Bibas family, who had been just promised over and over ago, then, we're not sure where the baby is, Hamas says. And then we're not even sure the baby's still alive. Oh, wait, we found out the baby's dead, and now the whole family's dead. That's the report that came out this morning.
Well, I didn't even see that. Wow. And this is part of one aspect of the attacks on October 7th that wasn't widely reported by the corporate media. But the Washington Free Beacon has been reporting on this for over a month now, that there were Gazan civilians who followed Hamas into Israel on October 7th. They knew it was going on, just like the reporters for Reuters or the stringers for AP and Reuters knew. And they followed them in. And some of these people who are
hostages are being held by civilians.
Mm-hmm.
This past week, it was reported that one of the hostages was held by an aid worker for the UN Relief Workers, Relief Workers for Palestine, or UNRWA.
Can you believe that?
Father of 10, a school teacher, and he was holding a hostage in the attic of his home, not giving the person enough food, not treating medical issues, and but the fact is that Hamas doesn't hold all of the prisoners. They say there's as many as 40, maybe with Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is a group that refuses to deal with Israel. They just want Israel destroyed. They refuse to negotiate. And some of these people may be, as in the case of the Bibas family, we don't know where they are. Oh, well, sorry, they're dead.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm just looking to see if that story has changed. According to Breitbart, the Bibas family, some of them may still be alive.
Okay. All right.
So there's no way to know.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful story in that the entire extended family of the Bibas hostages have been every day petitioning and protesting and standing in the streets and begging anyone who will listen to please intervene. And the Bibas family all have red hair.
Oh, interesting.
So they carry these orange balloons to represent the coppery-colored hair of this family who are being held. And one of them is just a baby who's only about 10 months old.
Yeah, yeah. And that was one. Yeah, and that was one that they thought had been given to Palestinian Islamic Jihad. But even the Prime Minister of Qatar now says that it's confirmed that the Hamas doesn't hold all of these hostages anymore, and in fact, he admitted we may never be able to get to them.
At which point, Israel probably said, "That's it, we're walking away from the table," because there had been 3. What am I trying to say? Disruptions.
Extensions. Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah. Breaking
violations.
Violations. Thank you very much. Oh, that's word violations. Nouns. They're nouns. There had been 3 violations by Hamas of the ceasefire. There was an IED explosion and there were 2 rockets.
Yeah. Of course.
But that's not quite a ceasefire.
No. But it's America's fault and Israel's fault.
I think what many were saying, at least in some of the Western press, well, that's just kind of, they can't control that. These are rogue people that aren't part of Hamas, and they're just doing, that you can't blame them. It's like, yes, you can. And the other thing that really angers me about Hamas is that they receive so much money from Western sources, including some organizations within the United Nations.
Well,
and they use this to oppress the people.
Yeah.
They don't give them any true medical aid. They don't really give them any food. They just barely keep them alive.
With the natural port there in Gaza and the beaches there, Gaza could have been a Monaco or a Singapore.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, but Hamas has taken that money and used it to develop its underground network and to buy weapons for its military.
If they had turned it into a Monaco type of environment, Monaco has no taxes.
Yeah.
So you get all sorts of business people who come in, buy a home there, and they can live tax-free.
Right.
So you get a lot of money coming in, which of course is one reason that Monaco has lots of gambling.
Well, exactly. And I was thinking that very thing. Not that I'm encouraging gambling, but if you're looking at a way to make money so you can raise the standard of living for your people,
yes.
Gaza had all the opportunities to do it. It had an international airport that was commissioned jointly by President Bill Clinton and Yasser Arafat back in 1993, and now it's basically unusable. The port has been blockaded by Israel because they were using it to bring weapons in. They don't care about the people. You're right. They only care about killing anyone who stands in their way, which is eliminating the state of Israel.
Exactly. Well, I watched a video of Hillary Clinton, a very recent one, where, believe it or not, Hillary Clinton agrees with you and with me that Gaza, Hamas blew it. That she talks about how Bill had gone in and he had negotiated all of these things, and she said they just took advantage of it.
Right.
And they have done nothing but oppress their people.
Well, that's true. And from a naturalistic perspective, this is psychotic behavior. It is evil. It is inexplicable. It's like a mental illness, but it's not a natural war. This is a supernatural conflict. And the spirits behind Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, is devoted to a very single-minded goal, which is taking control of Israel, eliminating
the Har Moed, or taking control of the Har Moed, the Mount of Assembly, which is Jerusalem. Why? From a natural perspective, it doesn't make any sense. And so we Westerners who've desupernaturalized, Western Christians who've desupernaturalized the Bible, it's like, well, they must be oppressed. That's the only thing that could explain this violent behavior. They've been oppressed. The Israelis, if they would just open the blockade of Gaza, it's like, they don't control all the borders. Egypt, there's the big crossing there at Egypt.
I know.
Yeah. I mean,
get a map and take a look.
Yeah. It is not because of oppression. It is not because of what happened in 1973. And by the way, remember, Egypt controlled Gaza from 48 to 73.
Mm-hmm.
And after they sneak attacked Israel, and Israel won that war, they wanted to give Gaza back to the Egyptians. The Egyptians didn't want it. And that's why Israel has controlled it since 1973. The Egyptians, like, these people are a problem. We don't want them. Same reason Jordan doesn't want them. It was reported this past week, Jordan moved armored personnel carriers and troops to the border, to the Jordan River. And lo and behold, they interdicted a weapons shipment from Jordan into Samaria. Stop that. But the Jordanians in 1970, we learned this past week. I should have remembered it. I was alive then. The Jordanians under King Hussein, well, it's true, I was only 8 years old. The Jordanians under King Hussein sent the army into the refugee camps and forcibly, at the point of a gun, kicked the Palestine Liberation Organization out of Jordan because Yasser Arafat tried to start a revolution and overthrow King Hussein.
Mm-hmm. So
they went to Lebanon and got involved in the Lebanese civil war. The Egyptians, the Jordanians, the Saudis, they don't want Hamas. In fact, there was a report this week that Haaretz, or just last night, in fact, Haaretz, and I've not found the account, but one of the sources we watch on X, OSINT, said that
resource.
Said that reportedly Haaretz, which is a left liberal newspaper in Israel, had sources telling them that behind the scenes, Arab leaders in the Middle East were telling Israel, smash Hamas. Don't stop the war until Hamas is destroyed.
Now, isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Now, they can't say that publicly.
No.
They can't say that publicly. But these Arab leaders, they have a stronger sense of history than we in the West do. And they remember, okay, it was 50 years ago they tried to overthrow King Hussein. If we bring them in, the same thing could happen to us. We don't want that. So,
and let's not forget, Iran is actually pulling the strings on this.
Yeah.
Iran doesn't have a very good history themselves. They had a long-standing monarchy, and they pulled it down.
Right. But Iran would be okay with Hamas going somewhere and stirring up trouble in the Sunni Arab nations, being a Shia.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot going on there.
Running out of time.
I do want to mention the superpigs in Canada.
That's right.
Yeah, as sort of a kicker. Yeah, this is, again, what a tangled web we weave when nature's designs, when the Lord's designs for nature, we try to, something that rhymes with,
Something that rhymes with weave?
Weave, yes. Anyway, according to a researcher at the University of Saskatchewan, the Canadian Wild Pig Research Project, yes, there is one. This is just the latest in the 400-year history that we Europeans in North America have had with the ongoing war with invasive wild pigs. Because in Canada, because of a push to diversify agriculture, they brought in wild boars to be raised on farms across Canada. And these are, larger animals, or rather, they're more aggressive animals. You crossbreed them with domesticated pigs, which are larger. And suddenly you've got these larger bodied pigs that survive cold weather better, which is important in Canada, of course. They reproduce better in those conditions than, So, sadly, the population of feral pigs, once some of them escaped or were let go, which happened after a crash in the market for Canadian bacon, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, farmers who were raising these big pigs, like, they take a lot more feed, and I'm not making any money on these things. Just, okay, go out there. Go, just go forth and...
multiply.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's happened. These feral pigs have a gestation period of only 114 days, which is short. Average litter between 4 and 12 piglets apiece. Females can get pregnant at 6 months, which means that these pigs are spreading like locusts across the Canadian prairie and are now moving down. They are big enough and fast enough, they can run like 30 miles an hour, that they are known to take down deer and elk.
They get to be very big. Do you remember a few years ago on P.I.D. radio, we talked about Hogzilla?
Hogzilla, yes, the 800-pounder that was taken down. What, Alabama, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're in the South, too.
Yeah.
This is not a good thing because they endanger wildlife, they endanger you, your children, your animals. And if you're a farmer, if they get anywhere near you, I mean, they can take out many of your flock. Pigs are omnivorous.
They are. And these apparently are not only causing crop damage in Canada, now they're crossing into the northern tier states like North Dakota, Minnesota. They also go after goslings and ducklings.
Goslings?
Yes, I know.
I love the goslings.
So, yes, aerial surveys have spotted the hybrid pigs on both sides of the border between Canada and North Dakota, my mother's home state, and working their way from Manitoba into Minnesota.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes, Mrs. Gilbert.
What about if they eat the goslings and they eat one that has H5N1?
Well, that is, I hadn't even considered that, but that is,
problem.
Yeah, because again, these things are interacting with other forms of wildlife like deer and, So
lots of raccoons and all sorts of things in the wild that can eventually, because mammals are starting to contract H5N1,
yep.
It will eventually become an easy spreader human to human.
Yeah. Well,
read Armageddon straight.
Yes. Having met some folks and have some relatives who live up in that area, I suspect the pigs are going to find that the farmers in North Dakota are pretty well armed.
Yeah.
So
here too.
Well, here too, but let's pray they don't get down this far, because again, these things weigh up to 400 pounds and can run at 30 miles per hour.
Oh, that's fast.
Yeah,
that is fast.
Faster than a human.
You can't stop that sort of weight very easily.
No. So
that's when you need a dachshund.
But again, this is what happens when you start messing around with nature. Hey, if we bring these African bees over here, we can get more honey. Ow. Yeah, kudzu. That'll be great for...
I'll say it again, dachshunds.
Yeah.
They were actually bred to go after badgers, but they also are used in Germany
for hunting
historically for hunting boar.
I don't think they were going after 400-pound boar, though.
Some boar are pretty big.
Yeah. But crossbreeding them with domesticated pigs, hogs, has led to this extra big...
We need extra big dachshunds.
We do, yes.
Breed bigger dachshunds.
Dachshunds crossbred with Dobermans. Yeah. Well...
We went for the really short legs over here. They have longer legs over there.
Yeah, and they're certainly going to need them. But yes, that would be it. Let's deploy a special forces, a doxy...
Snarling dachshunds. By the way, we will someday soon, we are in the midst of getting everything lined up and, getting our formula correct so that we can have snarling dachshund coffee.
Yes, something to introduce to the store. Also, besides snarling dachshund coffee, also Amazing Grace coffee.
Which will be a little lighter, possibly even flavored. We don't know.
Yeah.
But also Bunker Buster.
Yes. So we've got some. We like our coffee pretty strong.
We really do. If it's not,
we're aware.
Slice it.
Yeah.
It is not strong enough.
Right. But we're aware that not everybody likes it that way. So
when people come to visit us, we usually put out boiling water. So if you need to, water down your coffee,
here you go.
Or an ice cube sometimes. Whatever makes you happy. We want you to be happy if you come and stay with us. By the way, we want to thank everybody who has helped with the Build Barn Better project, because as you can see when you watch Unraveling Revelation and many of the other shows, 5 and 10, you can see the changes that have taken place. And can you put a photograph in with this?
The show notes? Sure.
Yeah. Just a little photograph of what it looks like out here right now. It's amazing, and we're still sort of fine-tuning everything, but we could only do it because you guys believed in what we are doing. You believed in this vision, and you have not only stepped up with your financial help, but you also, many of you are praying for us and encouraging us, and that means the world to us.
Absolutely. We this has been totally paid for. There is not an item in this barn now that is that has been financed.
No,
so we're not under any obligation to have to repay with interest anything that has gone in here, and that has only been through your generosity that is possible. Got a couple of items of furniture to assemble and put together today that'll show up on the
Unraveling Revelation set. But the first Unraveling Revelation program from the new set will drop on Monday morning at 9. So you'll get to see the set as it looks now. Again, there are some tweaks that are still to come, but that is where we will be recording that program from here on out. We are also exploring the possibility of bringing guests here. Again, as they come available. Joe Horn at Skywatch TV has been wonderful about saying, hey, look, if there's a guest who comes out to do the program and you want him up there, we'll try to work out the schedule.
Yeah,
so,
he's really been supportive and very encouraging.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you. And you can always find out more at gilberthouse.org/donate. We've got a couple of videos there showing sort of the last stages of the progress. But just this past week, David James, Barbara James, and Lynn Shepard, David and Barbara, the owners of Christ-Powered Construction, they finished getting the paneling up on the walls. So now the walls are paneled all the way around, and so we can get everything pushed into position as far as work areas. And one other thing, we had talked about moving the dates for the Israel tour. It is the 2024 tour, which was scheduled for March 30th through April 9th. Right. Thank you. It will be after the High Holy Days next October, which is the Feast of Tabernacles, or Sukkot, which means the week following the final weekend in October.
So no sooner than October 27.
Right. But probably a little later. It'll probably be, we'll go out there a few days early again.
Right.
So probably the very end of October and then into November will be the dates. We will confirm those and release those to you as soon as we can.
We will indeed. By the way, my birthday is going to be right in there. So I love the idea of celebrating my birthday in Israel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
72, which is a biblical number.
No, isn't that?
Yeah.
By the way, this is really weird. If you look at Chinese legends about the various years, I don't believe in astrology, none of that. But there are those who do. I was born in the year of the dragon. So when I turned 72, because 12 goes into it 6 times, year of the dragon.
Yeah.
2024.
Well, we're entering a very interesting period of history for a number of reasons. Of course, that will also mean that we'll be on the road and out of the country on Election Day.
No,
yeah.
we can vote in advance.
We'll vote in advance.
10, 12 times.
That's only if you live in one of the big Democrat-controlled cities, Chicago and New York.
Republican. We'll never be able to pull that off.
Yeah, that just isn't allowed.
But if you're thinking about going, please, we will give you the exact dates very soon. We just have to confirm that with Tim Alberino and with Lipkin Tours, and then we'll be giving you that info.
Yes. Tomorrow morning, Gilbert House Fellowship, our Bible study. Join us for that. Tomorrow night, Nick Goss, author of Unplugging Babel. Yes, one of the Goslings. And tomorrow at 3, we'll be talking to the two boys. They will be then editing and then releasing that shortly thereafter. So we'll get you the link of our discussion with the Goslings as soon as that's available. And then Monday, Unraveling Revelation, the first program from the barn.
Ooh, so many good things happening.
Yes.
It's all because of you, and we thank the Lord for every one of you.
Amen. Until next time, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert. Bye-bye, everybody.
P.I.D. Radio is produced by Gilbert House and released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Follow us online, Twitter @P.I.D. Radio, or the P.I.D. Radio page at Facebook. Join us each week for our online Bible study, the Gilbert House Fellowship, online at gilberthouse.org.